is a stunning poem by Amr al-Shakri about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
You're the best person I've ever known, best friend I've never met. Your sincerity to me is blinding, enough to completely canvas the world with drapes that read respect, honor, love, protect, while creating a window for me to zoom in on the important things, but those are the things that I forget or neglect. I will do better. Your ummah is fine, not because of me or mine or wounds that heal with time, those who would die for a $sign, but because a promise is divine. So when we feel like we're at our worst and our sadness would cause our hearts to burst, it feels like there are times when there are angels within our lines, or hovering over squares with chance of freedom in the air, and though tyrants may step on our necks, we smile, for history has always been on our side. Yours is an ummah that simply does not die. I am sorry for my weakness, for every time I've been ashamed of your name and asked someone to call me Mo, for not knowing enough about you to defend you when they drew cartoons or accused you with the most heinous of accusations, for not getting over my distaste of reading and waiting for Hollywood to put you on the big screen so I could know something about you. As if Steven Spielberg or Mel Gibson or Johnny Depp would somehow be able to recreate the twinkle in your eye, or a beautiful bead of sweat as it scaffolds on your forehead, frantically fighting gravity, not wanting to fall off your body. I keep thinking of seeing you. And if you would smile at me, the thought gives me goosebumps. You told me to meet you at the pool. So on that day, I hope and pray that I will see you through the crowd, that no angels barricade me as I sprint at breakneck speed. I hope you recognize it's me. I will crowd the companions to get access to your vision. I will obey my thirst by quenching it from your hands. So until that day, I will pray.
MashaAllah, that was beautiful. I pray that we are all blessed with meeting Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in paradise. That's all we've got time for this week. We hope you have learned and benefited from everything you have seen, read and heard. If you want to get in contact with the show, send us an email to ilmtube@islamchannel.tv. Alternatively, you can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Islam Channel, or tweet us at Islam Channel #IlmTube. With your thoughts, beneficial tweets and pictures. The best ones will be shown on future episodes of IlmTube, inshallah. We'll be back at the same time next week with more inspiring messages, pictures and videos. I'll leave you now with a beautiful recitation of Surah Mulk by Mushari Rashid Al-Afasi. Until next week, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء.
Style, quality, affordable. Stay unique, stay chic with Lulu Chic scarves and accessories for all occasions. Lulu Chic offers quality scarves and accessories at affordable prices. Shop online now at luluchic.co.uk for the new Spring and Summer 2013 collection. Stay unique, stay chic at luluchic.co.uk. Naturally restore, relieve, refresh and protect your skin with Medina Healthcare's Heavenly Moisture Face Cream. With a refreshing black seed oil formula and using only the purest ingredients, Medina Healthcare's Heavenly Moisture is ideal for Hajj and Umrah and is certified by the HFA and Vegan Society. The Heavenly Face Cream contains no perfume and provides intensive moisture for every skin type. Medina Healthcare, enhancing your well-being both physically and spiritually.
Can you read it? How much does your eyesight mean to you? Imagine not being able to read the Quran. With a small donation of just £35, Al Mustafa Trust will provide a free eye operation, helping orphans and the elderly to see again. Visit almustafatrust.org and donate today. Al Mustafa Trust. If you open your heart, others will open their eyes.
السلام عليكم. قبل 6 أشهر بينما كنت أشاهد التلفاز
إذ رأيت إعلانا عن دورة اللغة العربية المكثفة في كلية إبراهيم،
إلا أني يومئذ لم أفهم كلمة باللغة العربية،
ولكني الآن أفهم القرآن أحسن من قبل بنعمة الله.
وتستطيع أن تصبح أفضل مني فسجل بسرعة.
Join the Arabic intensive program at Ibrahim College and remove these subtitles. Call us now on 0207 377 6677 or visit ibrahimcollege.org.uk.
With over 3 million Syrians having fled their homes, many have arrived in camps within Syria and along the Turkish and Lebanese border. Our teams are on the ground, ready to scale up the aid efforts. Our aim is to provide 1 million meals over the next 3 months. As the crisis worsens, the people of Syria await for our response. Help ease their suffering by responding today. Call us now or visit muslimhands.org.uk.
Hajj, a journey to the blessed land, a journey to the house of Allah, a journey you will never forget. To perform this spiritual journey of a lifetime, start saving with Oasis today. Invest in your future. The Oasis Crescent Way, the compliant way. For more information, visit our offices at 50 Hands Crescent, Knightsbridge, or call us on 0808 238 7543.
Living the Life is sponsored by IslamicMarriage.com, celebrating Islam, nikah and zawaj.
Living the life.
Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum, and a very warm welcome to Living the Life on Tuesday, the 2nd of April, with Raheem Jung.
And with Hassana Amaji. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining us this evening. We hope that you all had a wonderful bank holiday weekend. Now, coming up on tonight's programme, Reconnecting with Their Roots, we have the story of how these two people were inspired after a trip to Africa. They are husband and wife, Amina and Sharif Din. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome to the show. Very inspirational story. We're looking forward to speaking to you.
Yes. Also on the show tonight, If Walls Could Speak. It's the name of a brand new theatrical production.
That's right. World-renowned graffiti artist Muhammad Ali has teamed up with a diverse lineup of artists for this intriguing project. We're going to be finding out more later in the show. In the meantime, welcome to Muhammad Ali. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Good to have you back on the show, Brother Muhammad. Now, that looks like a really intriguing thing that you've been getting up to there in Birmingham, of all places.
And it's a great name as well, If Walls Could Speak.
How did you find? Were the community really into it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a sellout show. People went crazy over it. It was amazing.
Brilliant.
That's something I am looking forward to indeed.
Definitely. So that's all coming up, but first, as ever, it's time for this.
Now, Hassan, tell me this. What was the worst job you've ever done? I don't think you've done many really bad jobs, have you?
No, I don't think I have. I've had some really interesting
A-levels, university, teacher...
Something like that, yeah. But a couple of part-time jobs along the way, you know, the usual kind of retail
stuff. Baking cakes, as we know.
Baking cakes as well, that's been an interesting one.
I've had some horrendous jobs, and I'll tell you why I'm going to tell you. Because our question today is, what is the worst job that you've ever done? The reason we're asking is because looking through the British archives and historical accounts, we found some amazing jobs. We found,
really
what was it?
Ones.
Leech collector. And if you want to know how you had to collect leeches, you had to go into the water with your skirts up and let all the leeches get onto you. And then once they started to suck your blood, you could then hand them over to a pharmacist.
Didn't they use those for, like, pharmaceutical kind of...
Yeah, like hijama. It was for bloodletting. That's right.
Gosh, that
there was a toad collector. Do you remember there was a toad collector? Somebody who would collect toads and then you'd apply them for medical purposes.
And a door knocker as well. Someone who'd go around knocking people's doors to wake them up in the morning. I think I need that.
I think my worst... I've had some pretty bad jobs, I can tell you. I think my worst job was probably... The most embarrassing job I had was for a well-known hamburger chain who have a big red clown as their motto. We won't say anymore. I was their litter patrol person, and it was right next to my school when I was a very tender, sensitive age of 16 years old.
So you had all of your friends coming round?
All my friends used to walk past and laugh at me, and I had a big jacket on saying litter patrol, and I had to pick up all of the rubbish from the streets.
It's a good thing they didn't have Facebook back then,
I'm
otherwise, what would have happened?
Very lucky indeed. I've done a few other bad ones as well, which I'll share with the viewers as we go on. But we do want to hear from you today. We want to hear what is the worst job you've ever done. And if you haven't done any really bad jobs, we want to hear from you about what is a job that you would never consider doing. Because some people, you know, some people say, oh, I could never serve people. They just don't like working in a shop, or they don't like working in a restaurant. Some people say, I could never sweep the streets. I could do anything.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
As long as it's halal. Doesn't bother me.
Well, that's our story of the day question.
Indeed. Of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. And if you'd like to get in touch, listen up closely to these details.
Here at Living the Life, we want to hear from you. To get in touch, tweet us at Islam Channel, #LTLife, facebook.com/Islam Channel. You can also email us, livingthelife@islamchannel.tv. We look forward to hearing from you.
So do get in touch and we'll be reading your responses during the show. Now, our first guest tonight emigrated from Kenya to Teesside in the north of the UK in 1974, and 35 years later, in 2009, they revisited the African country.
Shocked at the appalling conditions of homeless people in Kenya, they were inspired to launch a project to help the homeless better their lives. We're joined tonight by these two individuals, husband and wife, Amina and Sharif Din. Salamu alaikum. And welcome both of you to the show. Auntie, very nice to meet you. Now tell me this, Auntie, you went back to Kenya after so many years. What was it like when you saw the condition of the people there?
Africa after about 33 years, 35 actually. It was very, very different. We was very shocked to see the country how it is. And our holiday was, and we never enjoy holiday. We're enjoying now with our poor people, with needies now. That is our hobby is gone. Is our true story and true in our leftover life. We're going to do that, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Brother Sharif, coming to you. I mean, obviously you grew up in Kenya.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you? It must have been quite emotional with a return there.
You know what, we were born down there, and when we came to this country in 1974, so I worked there hard for 35 years. After 35 years, I took my missus down there for a holiday, and it was appalling, you know. I could not believe it, what I've seen it, you know. So something clicked in my mind. I said that we came back, and I said, we have to do something about this homeless and young people. They're dying with hunger.
What was the main difference that you noticed? Because as you said, you grew up there, and many people I knew who grew up in East Africa, they said that they had wonderful memories of their childhood, wonderful memories of Africa. What was it like for you to go back after 33 years? Did you see many changes?
It was completely changed over, because it was from better to worse, I could say, you know, and it's getting better now, but you know, things are very bad down there.
Sister Amna, of course, you hopefully, inshallah, planning to build a shelter there. I think that project is underway.
Yeah.
How did that initially come about then? Did you get together and decide to do it? Because it seems to be a private project that you're undertaking.
Because
all on your own.
what we thought
it
when we
wasn't anything decided there, to be honest. The main thing is happened when we went one place, we've seen the elder people sleeping on the floor.
Pavement,
you know,
was that
with
near the capital city?
Yeah, very poor, very old. Because in that country is no any benefit, and the children doesn't want to keep their elder there, no? And they got no place to go. So when we see that, we remember our style life and what is their lifestyle. And this is our duty now, I think, we to give them a hand. And we didn't decide at the same time, but we feel very bad. When we come back, then we decided, because I sold my shop and he had a lump sum. He retired, he had the money, he was well off that time, and we thought this is our duty. Is leftover age. In this age, look the way we living here, and when we old, we will get everything in this country. And look these people. So that was end of our story of a enjoyment holiday, and this is our starting of the enjoyment for our end of the life. We want to enjoy this life with the poor and needy.
That's amazing you say that. So you actually feel that this is now your calling, so to speak.
Yes.
This is now your mission for the end of your life.
Yeah, that's our
is
mission.
to try and give something back to these people.
So actually what happened was, I worked for 35 years, then I got a big lump sum, and we had a shop and a house. We sold that one. And then we said, we got some money, so we must do something for the poor.
Yeah.
Because Allah is watching you. I must spend my money to Allah's way. That's the easy way. So we bought the land with our own money, and fortunately there was a mosque next to it. So we are looking after the mosque. This land we bought, we start building it. We got a planning permission for about 16 rooms. We've built 2 rooms, 30 is on the way now.
Right.
So we are going there now, next month, this month, and we are starting to build a 3rd room. And we are feeding the poor.
That's right.
Every month we send money.
Yeah, I understand you have a specific project about feeding the poor people. Tell me about that.
Well, what happened was, you know, because there's an old man came to me, you know, he says, can you give me 100 shillings? Which go, I've got a family to feed, you know.
£1.
£1.
That's about
That's
£1 pound.
£1.
£1.
So I gave him a pound, you know, so I asked him what it was all about, you know. He feed a family of 4, he and his wife and his 2 children, you know. And I was very upset, you know, because we in this country, we got plenty of money. All these our kids, you know, take £10 for the sweets.
Yeah.
And the single £1, that's 100 shillings, that feed them for 2 days.
Family can stay £2 a day, full family, for a meal.
Whole family.
And he was asking us for £1. He said, my children will leave tonight for the bread and the milk. And
That's
then
amazing.
I said, it's because 10 days left here, and I'm going to give you every day that £2 a day. So that 10 days, every day we was going there to feed them, to give them pocket money. And from there, it came in my heart, why don't I start cook and feed people here?
Yeah. Well, look, I'd like to come back to both of you, inshallah, in just a moment and find out a little bit about the reaction from your communities. When you've come back here, because presumably you stayed in touch with people from Kenya, from East Africa, what was the reaction from your local community when you said this is what we want to do? We'll come back to you in a minute to answer that question. Thank you. Now, we're often told that to recycle as much as possible is the way we should be going forward. A group of women in Jeddah are doing just that.
Yep, that's right. They're transforming what was once rubbish into pieces of handmade artwork.
A social project in Saudi Arabia is turning unwanted plastic bags into accessories, helping the environment while providing jobs for local families in need. Diana Ryan, the creator of crochet group Trash Plus Crochet, came up with the idea after learning about the harmful damage plastic waste has on the environment.
The idea started in 2009 when I attended a lecture at the Chamber of Commerce about World Earth Day. One of the speakers spoke about the damage caused by plastic, and really this was a shock for me. I didn't know about the damage caused from plastic bags.
She then discovered that some non-profit organizations were helping women generate incomes in countries like the UK, India, and the Philippines by crocheting plastic bags into profitable crafts. And so she decided to implement a similar scheme in Saudi Arabia.
After that, I did a search on what we could make out of plastic bags, and I liked the idea of collecting them and doing crochet to produce innovative products. So we started to look for women who can do crochet, and we found a number of them and asked them about this idea. Then we started making small samples to distribute at a market, so as to see the reaction from the community. The results were excellent and really positive.
The concept is simple. Ryan buys plastic bags that women collect from waste sites and gets the women to crochet them into functional, sellable goods, a concept she calls trochet, a fusion of the two words trash and crochet. The high quality and creativity of crochet products have taken some by surprise.
Really, when they asked me for my opinion of the plastic bags at the start of this project, I really didn't expect such results in products, and that you can produce more than one thing. But when I saw all the things that were made, I was surprised. It's great and I really like it.
At the rapid rate the project is growing, Ryan believes it will soon provide more jobs for women.
After a short period of time, we started receiving orders for products much more than we expected. So in only a month, I can see that this could be converted into a factory with 500 to 1,000 women. And of course, this is something certain.
Crochet is aiming high and hopes one day to introduce these Saudi-made products into the international market. As plastic is trickier to crochet than traditional yarns, organizers hope more people will come to appreciate the skills and creativity of the Saudi women who turn trash into textile goods.
You know, those plastic bags are a blight. They really are. Yeah. And you know, I can't remember which country. I'm sure one of our viewers will be able to tell us. I've mentioned it a few times. There's a country in East Africa, I'm pretty sure, that have actually banned plastic bags.
Really?
Completely. They're banned from the whole country. And so much so that when you turn up at customs, they ask you to declare, do you have any plastic bags with you? And they take them away from you.
I think that's a really good idea, actually.
They're just because they're ruining the water supply. So that's a really creative use of plastic bags.
Yeah, absolutely. It's recycling chic.
Yeah, recycling chic. Very good. Well, look, coming back to our guests, I wanted to ask you, Uncle, with the East African community here in the UK, when you came back and you said, listen, it's just so bad over there, you can't believe it, we want to try and rebuild the mosque, we want to try and make a homeless shelter, we want to try and feed poor people, what was the response like from your community?
Well, the way we live, there's not much East African people there. There are only about a dozen of them. Most of them are Pakistanis, you know.
Yeah.
So we had a word with them and they were very, very happy and to help us to start, you know, just, then we just some did collection for us, around about 1,500 to start with.
Yeah.
That's our masjid, you know. And then we started from there, you know. Then from there, you know, we could not go no further because we don't register charity yet.
Yes.
So then we got registered by the Charity Commission. And then we are taking up now. We are making some charities and, you know, getting money.
Yeah.
And that's for the feeding the poor only.
Yeah.
And to build the mosque and got some money there, but
more, yeah.
all the building is all our own money.
Fantastic.
Now, I understand that the project is actually taking place in the rural part of Mombasa. It's not in the city itself.
No,
it's in the countryside.
Very outside from the city. You have to go a couple of miles away.
What's the landscape like there? Is it quite rough and?
Yeah, it is rough.
Rough and hilly.
The first time when they took me there, when they found the place, I was thinking when I keep going old for my arthritic and things will be very, very hard because the car is jumping hill and down and down, and we have to go up the hill and then our base comes
So it
there.
must have been quite tough to actually work in those environments and build up a project in an environment like that.
Very tough.
I mean, Auntie Amina, you were saying that actually when you had the idea it was one thing, but actually to bring it into fruition, to bring the project into reality has been very, very difficult.
This was like not like a Saturday, or it wasn't difficult for me. It happened when just I came back second year. Then when my husband asked masjid money, they give money, and I was just sitting down. I asked my daughter Halima Deen, which he said this project. I said, darling, I'm very, very, very in worry because your daddy will do the masjid. What about those people? The one they meet me there, the one I just cook little pan for them on holiday, and they expecting from me a food. And I want to do this job every year. I have to go and give them the food, and every month I have to give them packages food. And I needed desperately help now. I never thought it would be that cheap like before it used to be. Now it's expensive over there as well.
Well, look,
so Halima settled me for this all. Mom, you need help now on your age. And she settled me for everything from starting. And mashallah, shukr alhamdulillah, is the second year. This my girl and son settled me, and I'm rich so far here today on Islamic Channel.
I tell you what I'd like to ask. Many people see poverty around the world. They want to do something about it. They come back to their normal life and they forget about it. What impact has it had on you? How do you feel now having done this work?
Well, I feel very happy now. I've done something good for few people. I've done something very good for them. Because it is very, very, very difficult when you come from that country, settle down there, you can't sleep. I didn't sleep for 3 nights because the people were hungry and so, you know. And then I said, we have to do something about it. Because all this money, whatever we do with this, all money is going to go. So we spend our money to start the project.
Better than spending it on a new car.
On a new car.
Jazakallah khair for joining us, and all the best, inshallah, with your project. May Allah make it successful, inshallah. Ameen.
Fantastic. Actually, our story of the day, let me ask you both, mashallah, senior members of our community, what's the worst job that you've ever done?
The worst job I've ever done was working on the fumes.
Fumes? Because you're engineer.
Diesel engine fumes and boiler fumes. That's the worst place.
And Auntie, how about yourself?
My job started on 74 when I was a very young girl.
Worst job.
The worst job. It was the machinist job, overlooking, and 70 pence for a dozen, and you have to make 1 dozen full cardigan with overlock machine. And that was the worst job I did in my life.
You have to make a dozen cardigans for 70p.
That's why I was crying here.
Wow.
70 pence, 1 dozen cardigan.
That is
my old friend
74.
can hear me
75.
today. 70 pence. And my first pay of the month was £9.
£9 for the month.
For a whole month.
I was ready for the money.
tell you
That's
what,
why I can think for the people.
that makes my litter patrol look easy.
Yeah,
I tell you it does. Well, we do want to hear from you. What is the worst job that you've ever done? The research showing that people used to have to go and sit in water and wait for leeches to attach onto their legs to collect leeches and then come out and give those leeches to pharmacists, and someone who's go around knocking on doors just to wake people up. That's not a bad job.
That's not
I don't
bad.
mind doing that.
Yeah, that's
come
not
back from
bad at
Fajr,
all.
wake everyone up in the street. Time to wake up, go to work.
Well, don't forget, you can get in touch with us in a number of different ways. You can email us, livingthelife@islamchannel.tv, via Twitter @islamchannel, #LTLife, and we'll be reading your responses after the break. So see you very shortly, inshallah.
Living the Life is sponsored by IslamicMarriage.com, celebrating Islam, nikah and zawaj.
Ibrahim College's new term of Islamic part-time courses for adults is starting soon. Enroll today at ibrahimcollege.org.uk.
Hugs invite you to an evening of compassion to support families who are lonely and desperately in need of your support. Join Uthman Latif, Lauren Booth, Muhammad Ali and host Raheem Jung for inspiring talks, a luxury 3-course dinner, fundraising and auction on Saturday 6th of April at the Tower from 5 p.m. To grab your early bird tickets for only £25 or for further information ring 0207 733 2104.
If you're preparing for your future and looking for an Islamic environment that drives progress, then enroll at Aisha Community Education today. With qualifications from ACE, there's no telling how far you'll go. We offer a variety of courses, but if you have a specific requirement, then contact us. For more information, visit aishas.org, where success begins.
Are you looking for a Sharia-compliant alternative to a mortgage but aren't sure how it works? Islamic Bank of Britain can help you finance your investment properties in a simple way. Our buy-to-let purchase plans are based on joint ownership and renting. Your monthly payment increases your share in the property and includes rent on the share that the bank earns. At the end of the term, you'll own the property outright. Buy-to-let purchase plan is available now. It's easy to make the right choice.
To Allah belong the most beautiful names, so invoke Him by them. Does a glass of water remind you of Al-Razzaq, or the mountains of Al-Badi', or your desperation of Al-Mujib? What if you could always live with the most beautiful names of Allah?
Everybody will die. The good will die, the bad will die. And who shall remain? Al-Hayy, the all-living.
The purpose of this course, of this seminar, is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to love Him, to come and attend the Valley of the Seekers.
Living the Life is sponsored by IslamicMarriage.com, celebrating Islam, Nikah and Zawaj.
Living the life.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Living the Life. Now we are of course asking you today, what is the worst job that you've ever done? I've been thinking about a few more. I had to work in a place, you know, cleaning pots and pans once, with a high pressure cleaner, and it was a Saturday. It was all day long. Used to work in there in the steam, cleaning these pots and pans non-stop. You know how much you got paid for the day?
How much?
A tenner.
£10.
£10 for the whole day.
But I don't think anything can beat what Sister Amina was saying before about 70 pence for
12 cardigans.
Oh gosh, wow.
Yeah. So we do want to hear from you. What's the worst job you've ever done, and what job would you not consider doing? I know somebody there was saying they wouldn't like, or what was they saying? They were saying cleaning.
Yeah, cleaning toilets.
Cleaning
Sadef
toilets.
has tweeted in to say she would not like to be a toilet cleaner.
You know what? I've cleaned toilets.
Really?
Yeah. I worked in a restaurant, and part of the job was you had to clean the toilets.
Well, we've got one here from Kay who says, I would hate to be a teacher. It looks so hard, plus I have no patience.
Well, you can speak about that. You're a teacher.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it does take a lot of patience and it is hard work, but it's also really rewarding.
Yeah,
so
that's not too bad.
We've got one here from Arlina who's tweeted and saying, a debt collector.
Oh, that's a nasty job.
That's true. That would be really, really tough.
Nasty job. Yeah, I wouldn't like to do that. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's one job I wouldn't do, actually.
Really?
If you asked me jobs I wouldn't do, I wouldn't be a debt collector. That's horrible, going and taking people's
Yeah.
things away, and I suppose someone's got to do it.
You'd have to be quite tough, I think, to do something like that.
You would. I'd keep crying.
Really? Well, moving on now. If Walls Could Speak is a brand new theatrical production which celebrated its opening performance in Birmingham. It's a story of an inner-city neighbourhood told through the eyes of an artist driven to redefine himself, his community and the space around him.
Indeed, it's an explosive collage of tales woven together using live graffiti, vocals, spoken word, rhythm and rhyme. We're going to be talking to the man behind this project, but just before we do, let's take a look at the production. This is If Walls Could Speak.
Red graffiti scrawled across a supermarket billboard reads freedom. All of the letters are capital except for the D.
I'm the machine that watches you pray. While you're watching your Toshiba, you're getting watched by your watching your washing machine, so watch what you say through your iPhone. You need an eye patch before I take an eye clone. Satellite sight, the eyebrow.
There with the boys, feeling invincible. The streets emptying, 5 pairs of boots, kicking, that sickening sound of steel toe capping soft belly.
You can almost hear the thoughts dancing to the violence of silence. Take it home.
So that was a glimpse of If Walls Could Speak, and we're so pleased to have with us here its curator, Muhammad Ali.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back on Living the Life. Nice to have you back on the sofa, Brother Muhammad. Now, Brother Muhammad, tell me this, right? Whenever I see the projects that you're working on, without being rude, they're far out, man. Do you know what I mean? They're not like your regular, you know, rapping or regular nasheeds or something. They're always kind of a bit ethereal, a little bit abstract. Do you find the Muslim community are ready for this stuff?
I think it's time to make them be ready for it. And I think that shouldn't be, you know, I don't create depending on what the people or what people want and what they're used to, but rather we push the boundaries so that people kind of catch up and realize that it's a fast-paced world out there. Things are changing, trends, lifestyle, culture, and things around us is forever kind of, you know, moving on. And we need to kind of understand the language of today. And if people are still kind of not really there yet, we need to kind of take them along with us. So I just enjoyed going on that journey and taking people with us and saying, let's open our minds a little bit.
You talk about a journey there. The project itself, If Walls Could Speak, it's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually originated in quite a personal story for yourself. And it revolves around an area in Birmingham. What was it like having such a personal story translate into kind of a piece for a wider audience?
I think for me, I've been wanting to do that for years. That personal journey, not for kind of egotistical kind of reasons to say this is my story, but it's my story, but it's our story. It's everyone's story. It's the community. I'm part of a community, and outside of that, actually, the stories are. We've all kind of gone through those similar stories of migration. Our parents migrated here, whether it was from Kenya or whether it's from India or wherever it might be. We came here, we chose to stay here, and we worked and we struggled. Our parents and our grandparents went through, you know, some serious times,
They
right?
did indeed, yeah.
And I felt like those stories have not been documented. And for us to understand where we are today with the society in terms of multicultural Britain, and we celebrate multicultural Britain, let's look at the journey and the jobs that they did and the factories they worked in.
I mean, you worked, your parents had a restaurant, is that right?
Well, we used to, yeah, before we sold it on.
So did you do some of that steam cleaning in the back room and
you know,
washing some of those pots and pans?
I knew you'd ask that question, so exactly that. There's something worse than cleaning toilets, which is cleaning up after drunkards, yeah?
Yeah.
After a drunk night, yeah. You know, drunk people, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a pretty sight.
No.
And the aggro that you get in the meantime as well. You know, unfortunately, in the restaurant industry and in this country, you know, part and parcel of it. You have to deal with the grief after 11 o'clock.
So, Sparbrook, I mean, what is it that's so special about this area? Because, I mean, it has seen a lot, hasn't it? I mean, it's seen waves of immigration. It's seen, as you said, it's seen people struggling against poverty, trying to establish themselves and their communities. If walls could speak, what would they be saying to us, the walls of Sparbrook?
Well, Sparbrook was thrust into the spotlight more recently, and not just, you know, nationally, but internationally. Why? Because for the wrong reasons. For the CCTV cameras that were implemented by the police to monitor the Muslim community because of extremism. Now suddenly Sparbrook became, you know, known for this, and even more recently was the convictions of the young guys that were, you know, for terrorism. Right? So suddenly, you know, Sparbrook and the Muslim community that it is was always kind of depicted in a kind of negative way. Myself, I have fond memories of the area, you know, of growing up with quite a diverse community. A lot of the Irish community settled in Sparkbrook.
Yeah.
We grew up playing with kids who were, you know, white kids from the area. But now, like many areas that become quite ghettoized, where they become quite one-dimensional in terms of the cultures and the people that live there, or insular as well. And that saddened me, and I felt
I was
like
going to ask if that saddened you,
Yeah.
seeing something where it used to be more mixed and now it's become, as you said, ghettoized.
Absolutely, and it's a problem throughout the country, really.
is,
The reality is, you know, how do we deal with this? How do when we hear the term white flight?
I heard that. I read an article on that just the other day, actually.
White flight, why? Where do they go? What are the reasons why someone feels like they need to leave the area because of too many of those people coming here?
Now, coming back to the project itself, what was it like for you as an artist, bringing together people from other fields? For example, we saw in the clip there you had some spoken word poets and some rappers. How was that experience like for you?
To bring, I'm talking legends of their genres. That's what they were. If you Google any of the names of the artists of If Force Could Speak, you'll find we have the UK's #1 jazz vocalist, Cleveland Watkins, for example. To invite him to come onto this, you know, it was just amazing to be able to tell a story of inner city, Birmingham, the Muslim community, or let's say the ethnic community, because it does touch upon the different ethnic communities that settle there, not just a story about the Muslims. But to bring someone like that, and these are the legends of their fields. There was a grime artist, we had a poet laureate, we also had a former drum and bass MC. We're talking people who performed in front of 30,000, 40,000 people, telling such a different story. It was exciting to bring all those into one room to tell a story that was something personal. It was mind-blowing.
The event was sold out both nights. Do you think you got your message across, the message that you wanted to tell about this area of Birmingham, about the personal experiences, the stories of the people who've been through that area?
I always like to hear the feedback, only so we know, hang on, was this worth it? Was it me opening up my life, if you like, on stage in the way I have? Is it something that, you know, what's been the fruits of it? And hearing, I always bang on about Twitter and people tweeting afterwards, encouraging people to tweet. It's a great way to see of how people respond to that. And the tweets that came through on the hashtag If Force Could Speak were things that you feel, you know, that was worth it.
Yeah.
People have felt it, and seeing the diversity of the people in one room. You're talking about people who never normally come together in one space.
That's always encouraging to see that, isn't it?
When you see that, you think, you know, this isn't preaching to the converted. This has brought people from all sectors of society together.
Fantastic.
Do you think there's almost like a rising trend now, and people becoming more aware of these kind of different mediums of expressing yourself now?
I think we need to do a lot more. I think as a community, there probably is not enough, if I'm honest, in terms of really thinking outside of the box. I think it's, so in answer to your question, I'd probably say, I do see, you know, it's encouraging to see a lot of artists
but not yet enough.
coming forward, but not enough, and not enough variety in terms of, we might see, you know, the conventional kind of art forms. Let's break beyond that and think differently outside of the box.
Well,
we're going to come back to you indeed to find out a little bit more, and you're going to be signing some posters for us that we're going to be giving away to some of our viewers. So thanks for that. We'll come back to you in a minute. But for now, moving on to the Iraq War. Of course, the Iraq War in 2003 reminds us well the immense suffering endured by the people of that country. Even now, it sends shivers down many of our spines.
That's right. Well, through an exhibition in London, an Iraqi photographer looks back at the Iraq War, portraying its impact through images and numbers.
10 years have passed since the US-led war against Iraq, and Iraqis who lived through the nightly aerial bombardments of their cities say they're still feeling the impact of the war every day. This sentiment is the focus of an exhibition entitled Photography by Numbers, held at the Arab British Centre in London, which showcases a collection of photographs taken by Iraqi photographer Mona Chalabi. Chalabi made her first trip to Iraq in 2012 to discover some of the consequences of the war. She used her lens to depict various facts about the progress and corruption in the country. Chalabi says she aims to explore the changes that have taken place in Iraq since 2003 by combining her photographs with facts, figures and statistics.
When I went to Iraq in 2012, the Iraq that I saw there was extremely different to the Iraq that had been depicted in a lot of the news media, and the Iraq that I had imagined before I went there. most of the images were quite emotional ones, and they were quite violent ones at the same time. And the Iraq that I saw there is quite an emotional sort of society, but there was also another side to it, which is just people trying to get on with their everyday lives, difficulties with employment, with education, with health. And I wanted to be able to capture that and to kind of increase people's understanding through statistics, but also to have a bit more scepticism about the validity of some of those statistics and some of their strength and accuracy. And using art is a way that people always question its objectivity. So by putting it together with art, it means that you don't take those statistics for granted.
Each picture in Jalabi's exhibition has been manipulated to display a development statistic, which raises awareness about the country's progress as well as its level of deterioration. Some of the themes that Jalabi highlights in her photographs include statistics on corruption, employment, abuse against women, migration, bureaucracy, literature, health, security, oil rents and prisoners. One of her photographs, Winning Bread, highlights the proportion of employment in Iraq. Based on statistics taken between 2003 and 2010, the figures show that employment rates had remained stable at 33% since 2005. Some visitors say they find the concept of the exhibition refreshing.
I
liked the idea because it's new, and usually statistics tend to be boring because people don't like numbers. But when a number is accompanied by a picture, it helps people develop a better approach about the idea. And because it's been 10 years since 2003 and since the American invasion of Iraq, I felt that people were interested to know how much development has taken place since then. Jalabi's exhibition runs from March 22nd to 28th and is part of Real Iraq 2013, a UK-based festival that brings together artists from across the world to mark 10 years since the US-led military invasion of Iraq. On the anniversary of Iraq, these photos are a much-needed reminder of the human face behind the statistics of war.
Sounds like they've got some really interesting pieces in that exhibition.
And it's always, you know, it's funny, it's just what we're talking about today with Muhammad. There's people using art to express what is really quite a difficult situation. You can't get more serious and difficult to discuss than the Iraq War. And you're using art, using photography to try and make sense of it all, just like you were doing with making sense of your upbringing there in that area of Birmingham. Well, look, as we said before the break, we have got some pictures. I'm going to reach behind my sofa here. If you could sign that one while I hold up this one. I've got pens here for you as well. There's a white pen.
Thank you.
There you go, you sign that one. And I'll hold this one up here. So these are from the exhibition. Hold that one up there, you can get a nice shot of that. If Walls Could Speak. And that's going to be signed by the artist Muhammad Ali. You're going to put that one down there. He's signing that one at the bottom. Very nice. I'll hold this one up now. And if you could sign that one. I've got another pen for you. Or do I give it to you? No, I've got it here. There you go. Thank you. There you go. There's the other pen. So,
wow.
There you go. That's now signed. As you can see, If Walls Could Speak, very beautiful.
Excellent.
Okay, keep that over here. So we've got both of those signed.
While you're signing that, have you got any plans to take this this project to other cities in the UK?
There's been a lot of interest from around the country and abroad as well. A few people have expressed interest in wanting to take this because it's a universal story.
Yeah.
It might be about Birmingham, second city, but actually the story is universal, no doubt.
So you're hoping to hopefully maybe do one in London, perhaps, as well?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think we can make time for London.
Inshallah.
So I did ask you, what was the worst job you've ever done?
Yeah, as I said, the restaurant trade.
That was it, huh?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, yeah.
Cleaning up after the drunks?
Cleaning up, yeah, after the drunkards, yeah. You know, and I won't tell you what kind of things we cleaned up.
I know. Listen, I was a minicab driver in London for years. I know about cleaning up after drunks. I do know. Well, look, Mohammed, it's fantastic to have you back on the show again. Amazing project. And, of course, you'll be staying with us for a little while until the end of our show. So we do want to hear from you on our story of the day. Mohammed's been cleaning up after drunks. I've done all sorts of things.
Yep.
I still haven't heard anything awful that you've done.
Well, I've had pretty standard jobs with Raheem. It's just been kind of, you know, working in a retail store. It's actually been quite nice, really.
Yeah.
I can't say I've had any really bad jobs.
Lucky. Well, I've kept the worst ones to myself, actually. But we still want to hear from you. Do let us know about the worst jobs you've ever done and the job that you would never expect to do either.
That's right. Now, in an attempt to educate poor children about computers, one man in India has self-designed a mobile internet cafe.
Indeed, he has, and this really is a fantastic initiative. Sadia Chaudhry has the details.
Abhishek Ganeshwar is a 25-year-old master's student who's chosen to walk an untrodden path of innovation and social service. Instead of pursuing a lucrative career in the management industry, he's transformed a vegetable cart, which is traditionally used by street vendors in India, into a mobile internet cafe. It has 5 computers and a server machine on it. He's been using the cart to impart knowledge about computers to poor rural children in northern India, and it took him several days to execute his dream project. The cafe requires 2 individuals for its operation, and one of them must be technically trained. Ganeshwar uses the mobile cafe in urban areas for commercial purposes, but when he takes it to the villages, his purpose is to educate the rural children about the nuances of computers, free of any charges.
My main objective in coming to the village from the city is to introduce the nuances of computers to the children studying in primary schools here. I want to educate them about computers as the government is trying to impart computer education but has failed in its attempts.
UNICEF says the number of children in India who aren't in school remains high. It insists that issues of social distance arising out of caste, class and gender differences deny children equal opportunities. It's hoped this mobile cart will put the wheels in motion to finally break these barriers.
Oh, it's great to see another great initiative there in India now, teaching people about computers.
You know me and computers, I don't understand anything. It's just that somebody can get all those computers, get them together, and teach people on the streets and teach them in such a, it's such an important thing. I always say to my kids, you have to know about computers. And they say, what about you? I said, don't look at me, your example, I don't know anything. Well, are you technophobe or are you techno?
Absolutely, you know.
Are you really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Not technophobe or pro, no, I'm pro.
Pro, that's what I meant.
Sorry,
I thought you'd be pro, yeah.
No, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Well, look, Mum, we're coming up towards the end of the show. I know you've always got exciting projects in the pipeline. What's next for you?
In a couple of weeks' time, the TED Talks concept that you might be familiar with, the first one's taking place in the Vatican State. So I've been invited to present there and paint live in the Vatican.
So you're going to be painting live with TED Talks live from the Vatican State. That's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's quite nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because they want to give the painting to the Pope afterwards as well.
They're going to give it to the Pope?
Yeah, as a gift. As a gift, yeah.
You're serious?
Yeah, it's pretty intense, but yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That really is. God, I wasn't expecting something that amazing. MashaAllah.
Well,
Alhamdulillah.
of course, if people want to find out more, they want to get in touch, how can they go about doing that? You mentioned Twitter before.
Yeah, I'm hardcore on Twitter. Aerosol Ali is my Twitter handle, so people tweet me and communicate that way. It's the best way.
Excellent. And the hashtag is, of course, if walls could speak, if
That's
they want to
right,
find out more about
yeah.
this. Jazakallah khair for joining us.
Thank you.
I don't know what that means, you know.
What, hashtag?
Business. Yeah, I don't know. I tried Twitter. I don't really get it much.
Well, that's all we have time for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in and getting in touch. And also a big thanks to our guests today, Amna and Sharif Dean.
Thank you, of course. And a big thanks to Muhammad Ali. Living the Life is back at the same time tomorrow. Until then, please have a wonderful evening. But for now, from myself, Raheem.
And myself, Hasana.
Assalamu alaikum.